So how did we feel yesterday watching the first ever Zuffa boxing event take place on Paramount Plus live at the Meta Apex in Las Vegas? Look it, when I heard that the first event was going to be at the Apex, I definitely had some worries. I said to myself, you know, there's a lot of UFC people that don't even like these UFC fights being in the Apexes due to, you know, not having a large crowd, due to it being a little bit more silent than how a normal fight's in. Some people feed off the energy going in to those UFC cage fights. Now, for boxing in this Meta Apex, I actually like it a lot, bro. I do. Honestly, I like how there wasn't that many breaks. We were going back to back to back in every single event inside the Meta Apex, which usually kind of just, you know, it doesn't give you that type of excitement. But every single fight that they put on this card, other than the main event, which we're going to get into right now, was an absolute banger. You're talking about guys like Robert Merriweather, Troy Nash, Floyd Cashflow Diaz, even though his name ain't Cashflow Diaz no more. These were all young prospects in the sport of boxing that, you know, if they would have kept competing, probably wouldn't have suffered a loss until 10 more fights from now, right? As you build a prospect in the sport of boxing, you hook them up with a bunch of tune-ups. Possibly sometimes some guys are going 20 fights with a tune-up. So right off the bat, you see each fighter get tested. You've seen Floyd Diaz, you see Troy Nash, you've seen these guys getting clipped. A wonderful fight between Julian Rodriguez and Cain Sandoval. The underdog came out with it. I honestly like how since the beginning fight, since the first fight, every fight from then on forward had excitement. Yes, I know there wasn't, you know, that X factor of the underdog winning in any of these fights. Other than Julian Rodriguez beating Cain Sandoval, I know there wasn't that, you know, crazy knockouts or nothing like that. But production-wise, absolutely fantastic. Fight-wise, absolutely fantastic. You could tell that in this league, it's not about setting you up with somebody you know for a fact you're going to win against. It's about bringing game guys that want to fight and continue to build these rankings. There's going to be a point where they bring in somebody that's better than Floyd Diaz, better than Troy Nash into the rankings, and they're eventually going to have to face off against each other. That's just how it is. The faster that they do it, the better. That's one thing that I was thinking about was, as people were giving criticism on the event, I said, hold up, bro. We don't even know what the rankings are yet. We don't know who, you know, in the welterweight, in the lightweight, in the bantamweight, each top 10 fighter who's going to be fighting each other. We don't know nothing like that, which is going to make it 100% funner. As soon as we get our first champion, it will be fun. I like this. I liked it better than the UFC being in the Apex. I like boxing on the Apex. For reals, dude. It's meant for a more focused, more relaxed, but more real fight. You can hear every single punch way harder than you can hear the punches in a stadium. That's exactly how it is for the UFC. Now, the main event, they do definitely have to work on trying to figure out who they're going to put on these main events, because at the end of the day, Carlos Ocampo versus Colin Walsh seemed like somebody was going to get knocked out. It was a good fight. Don't get me wrong. Colin Walsh was getting criticism by Max Kellerman and Andre Ward. Shout out to Max Kellerman and Andre Ward too. They were one of the reasons, them being part of this event was one of the reasons why I was able to just chillax, watch the boxing, listen to these guys talk, rather than listening to some random dudes who just aren't the best commentators. You know, every organization, every company has different commentators. I actually thought this was pleasing. I thought Colin Walsh looked good, could have threw a couple more jabs, could have been a little bit more technical, but instead was using that Roy Jones system, right? Was moving around, popping in, get out, right hand, boom, overhand right, boom, pull back, out. Just like that. Quick, fast movements. Wasn't really utilizing the jab. One thing that I thought to myself was, Colin Walsh is good, right? He competed at the 154 pounds when he fought against Fernando Vargas Jr. on the co-main event for the Terrence Bitter Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez card. But yesterday, he fought at 160 pounds. Colin Walsh definitely next time needs to try to close out the show, not for the sake of him, because of course, not only are you missing out on a $50,000 bonus, but you can tell that the stadium was a little quiet. He doesn't have a lot of Ireland fans there. The crowd wasn't as hyped up for the main event. In the beginning, it was popping towards the middle, going towards the end. It was kind of a drag. So other than the main event, which I still thought was a good fight, Colin Walsh, just the second that he goes up against somebody with a great, great jab is definitely going to be the second that he has to go back to switching his style from keeping his hands next to his knees to putting them up next to his face. Overall, I thought it was a great event. I can't wait for the next one. I think the next one is February 1st, which isn't even on a Friday. It's on a Sunday. So I don't even watch football, especially because the Steelers lost. But now that we're going to be having Saturday UFC, sometimes Golden Boy is putting on boxing fights on Friday, and Sunday Zuffa boxing, I'm all in this, my people. And one more thing that I noticed during this event that made me happy was the fact that when Julian Rodriguez beat Kane Sandoval, he got that mic and said, "Yo, Dana, I'm going to go straight to the UFC PI on Monday. I expect to be on another fight. Get me on. I need money. My family needs money. Help me out." And if you don't watch the UFC, Dana White loves those people. You got a guy named Walter Cortez who's competing at UFC 324 this Saturday, who has fought 6 times since 2025 of March. 6 times. Because he's active, he ain't getting hurt, and he's ready to fight. The cool thing about this Zuffa Boxing League and Julian Rodriguez saying those words is that now, because Dana White sees that this guy wants to fight and wants more feria, definitely Julian Rodriguez will be competing in the next 2 to 3 months in the Zuffa Boxing League, and again, could possibly compete in the next month. As we see sometimes short notice fighters step out, next person up. Him saying that he's going to go to the UFC PI where they're giving you free meal preps. People say, "Oh, nothing's for free. They're just going to take it out." No, this is free for all fighters. The meal preps, the workout areas, the massaginists. That's like the people who are out there, they even got therapy for fighters. All free. You can't live there, of course. You can't live there. But if you're living in Las Vegas, you have the option of going to this UFC PI and training your goddamn body off every single day with the help of the workers there to get you prepared. This is honestly perfect, bro. This is perfect for somebody that wants to feel like they're part of a company, that has the benefits of not having to pay for this extra stuff, meal preps, all this. There's guys that are in the UFC that are getting food sent to them from the UFC PI across state. Across state. This is what they do, my people. The only thing that I can see being a problem in this league, and I think it's a problem for all boxing, right? If you're with a promoter, if you're with PBC, you're with Top Rank, and you start to lose, you lose 1 fight, it's a bad look. You lose 2 fights, it's a bad look. You lose 3 fights, oh my goodness, right? Unless you're this legend. It's going to be like that in Zuffa boxing. We know in UFC, these guys get released, even if, it's only 2-1. They had 2 losses and 1 win. If you're not an exciting fighter, you're not putting on great fights, you're running around the ring, you will be released. If you're 0-3, you lose 3 fights in a row, and you ain't exciting, you will be released. And what happens when you do get released, having lost a bunch of times in a row, and now are trying to work yourself back with promoters and the sanctioning bodies? It is going to be a tough game. Nobody's going to look at you the same anymore. So joining this Zuffa Boxing League, you need to focus and worry about winning, because just as good as an opportunity it was for you is as fast as it could be bad for you. Let me know what you guys think, man. This is the MMA Boxing Addicts channel reporting to you how the Zuffa boxing event went. This is my reaction. I'm out.